Okay, I never expected to make this video and I never expected this to happen to me. But last week I had my first blackout. It was an extremely embarrassing experience. I was quite ashamed about it. I was disappointed in myself. I felt almost guilty about it. And I just felt terrible after it happened. I felt bad. I felt disappointed in myself. And I felt bad that I had put my buddy in a situation where he had to save my life. I just felt that that was not a responsible thing that it was not responsible of me and to put him in that situation. All right, so let me start off with how this began. We went to a quarry. This quarry is it's not that great, but it's got the depth. It's good for maybe depth training. The visibility in this quarry is maybe 2 to 4 meters. The water is warm on the surface, but freezing down below. We paddled out there. When I paddled out, we swam over like some dead trees and things like that made me wonder what is actually on the bottom of this quarry. We dropped our rope down and we eventually found a spot where our rope had dropped to roughly just a bit more than 40 meters. We set our rope up and we started to dive. I did dives all the way down to 36 meters. I did multiple dives beyond 30 meters, and they were all very comfortable. You know, when I came to the surface with my buddy, I'm okay. Very easy recovery, no problems whatsoever. I eventually set a personal best of, let me just get the dive for you guys on my watch here, sorry. Set a personal best of, that's it, 36.3. That dive was extremely comfortable. And while I've got my watch here, here's the dive that was a disaster for me, 39.9. Okay, so after I did my personal best of 36, I was preparing to do my last dive. I wanted to do 40 meters. This was a mistake. It wasn't that I wanted to beat 36 meters, do a 37 or something. I wanted to get 40 meters. While I was breathing up, I started to become nervous that I would come into contact with the bottom because I knew that the weight was not sitting at much more than 40 meters. So I was worried that I'd bump my head on the way down. Because remember, we don't look down. Freedivers, we don't look down when we dive down. We keep our head in line straight, so that we don't injure ourselves inside. So I started to get nervous while breathing up. I thought, forget it. I'm going to freak myself out, just dive. I duck dived and I went down. At 15 meters, I stopped kicking and I let myself sink all the way down past 30 meters. At 30 meters, the water turned from this very dark green into a blackness. What was happening is I was actually going inside a hole that our dive line had dropped into. Inside the hole, things just got rapidly dark and black. Eventually, when I thought that I was nearing my target depth, I grabbed the rope and I did a rolling turn, like a front flip roll, and I looked at my watch and I saw that I was only at 38 meters. I wanted to get 40 meters. So instead of pulling on the rope, I let my hand loose around the rope and I let myself sink down while I was looking at my watch to just try and see 40 meters. This was a horrendous thing to do. You should just turn absolutely properly and kick back up. While I was looking at my watch and sinking to the bottom, I noticed that my body position, I was in between a wall. This is a wall of a hole that I dropped into with jagged rocks on it. And it was the dive line, myself, and a wall. And I did not expect to see this wall, and it freaked me out and I panicked. I thought, I'm in a very tight situation now. And also I'm about to come into contact with the bottom. I freaked out, I got a fright, I pulled the rope and I started to kick up. I still felt okay. At 30 meters, I exited the hole, but at 20 meters, I started to think, I may not make it back to the surface. I started to get worried, I freaked out. At 15 meters, My buddy swam down to meet me. I saw him and I felt a little bit more relaxed. But as I was kicking up to the surface, I just realized that I'm not going to make it. It's not a feeling like, oh my God, I need air. The feeling is just of getting weak, and everything's just starting to go blank. I struggled to stay conscious. I tried to open my eyes or something to stay awake, but the last meter or half meter, as I came to the surface, I reached to try to put my hands on the buoy, and I did. But as I got there, I just blacked out. On the surface, I was not conscious. I did not know what's going on, and my buddy saw that I was not breathing. He called me, said, "Dean, wake up! Dean, wake up!" He slapped me. He blew on me. He kept calling, "Dean, wake up!" He said roughly after 5 to 10 seconds, I woke up and I started breathing again. Breathing was difficult. I felt something was in my lungs, which of course was blood. I had managed to get a lung squeeze on the bottom by just being silly with the turn and looking at my watch and looking at the wall and trying to get to the bottom. There was really, really stupid thing to do. I should have known better than that. So I got a lung squeeze. When I was at the surface, I was having problems breathing because of the blood in my lungs. I tried to somehow yak it up, which is also not a good thing to do because you can injure yourself more. But somehow I got some of the blood out and I started to breathe a bit more normally. It was a scary experience. My buddy saved my life. Should he have not been there, I would have been floating face down in the water and I could have died. If I had blacked out below 15 meters, which I guess is not common, but if I had blacked out below 15 meters, the weight belt that I was wearing and the how clear the water was, if I had sunk back down to the bottom, my buddy would never have been able to rescue me, and I would have died. Guys, I don't even need to point out how many mistakes I did in this video. It's obvious. It was a stupid dive. It was a stupid thing to do. I managed to breathe up poorly. I managed the turn absolutely terribly. Absolutely everything you could do wrong on the turn, I did wrong. And as a result, I blacked out. Please learn from my experience. Please don't let this happen to you. And I hope you learned something from this video. If there's anything I remember or any extra information or maybe point out some of the problems that I had or should have known better, I'm going to put that in the description so you guys can read that. All right, thanks very much for watching. Cheers.